Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Very depressing loss today at home for the Seattle Seahawks. I have a lot of comments to say, and I want to make this clear before I get any further in this video. If you guys have been watching this channel, you know I'm a Green Bay Packers fan. My heart has been ripped out several times from the Seattle Seahawks in my lifetime. I also cover the Las Vegas Raiders. I've been covering their football team since the month of May on YouTube. This is completely unbiased. That was crazy. I really genuinely think the refs completely gypped the Seattle Seahawks. To just kind of paint the picture for you guys, because I'm not really allowed to post highlights. Late in the fourth quarter, below the 2-minute mark, Josh Jacobs fumbled the football. All right, he fumbled the football on the Seahawks, 7, 8, inside the red zone. They didn't even look at it. And that is shocking to me. It very much reminds me almost of the Dez Bryant scenario with the Green Bay Packers. I can't believe they didn't look at it, because as far as I'm concerned, it was, and I'm not an expert, right? I'm making this video in my apartment. That was a fumble. Josh Jacobs fumbled the football. The Seahawks were up 7 points. There was 2 minutes, 20 seconds left, something like that, remaining on the game. And he fumbles the football, and they don't even look at it. Well, short story. They score, right? They score the touchdown, and they tie it up at 34-34. Well, Seattle has a couple of timeouts left, and they have the ball with about, 1 minute, 40 seconds, 1 minute, 50 seconds, something around there. Plenty of time on the clock. Couple plays later, DK Metcalf catches a football, and they call it a catch, and they spend, I really genuinely don't think I am overreacting. Let me know if I am overreacting. The refs spent about 6 minutes looking at this play. They called it a catch, and they spent about 6 minutes looking if this is a catch or not. And like I said, they called it a catch. And what does the ref say? That was not a catch. It's brutal. You know, it is absolutely brutal, and I've only been covering the Seahawks or making videos on the Seahawks for a couple of weeks now, and I gotta say, every time I watch this team play football, they're getting no love. They're getting no love from these refs, and you know, I've been making sports videos for 2-3 years now, and I hate using referees as an excuse to talk about the game, because at the end of the day, you know, Seattle had plenty of times to win this football game, and we'll talk about it here in just a second, but you know, the refs really shafted them. They really gypped them. I was not on Twitter. I was barely even listening to the announcers, so I'm curious what Seahawks fans have to say. If any Raiders fans are watching this video, or football fans in general, if you watch this game, let me know your thoughts. Because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, Josh Jacobs clearly fumbled the football. I never saw him touch the floor. The ball was ripped from his hand. And DK, you know, I like I said, that also reminded me of the Dez catch. I really don't think they're in a position to overturn that, but, you know, genuinely, what do I know? So, it's tough. At the end of the day, though, Seattle did have the opportunity to win this football game. We talked about it a couple of days ago on this channel, saying, you know, Vegas is desperate. You know, they're headed into this game 3-7. 2 weeks ago, they were 2-7. New head coach Josh McDaniels, new addition Davante Adams. Their defense has absolutely sucked. Their offensive line has absolutely sucked. So, you know, at the end of the day, this was not a great game played by Seattle, and we'll talk about the reasons why. You got to put pressure on the quarterback. All these things, all these takes are going to sound redundant. Before we get any further in this video, if you guys enjoy it, you want more Seahawks content, hit that like button, hit that sub button. Seahawks fans, you guys have absolutely blessed this channel. Got like one of my first ever Seahawks videos, like 70K. So I'm definitely covering, making videos on this team several times a week. So hit that like button, hit that sub button. Let's try and get to 100 likes on today's video. I know it's very painful. And like I said, I'm a Packers fan. We haven't even played yet. You know, I cover the Raiders. I've been covering their team, making YouTube videos on them since May. And this one hurts, dude. It really freaking hurts. But you know, Seattle couldn't get anything going on the run game. Kenneth Walker, back-to-back weeks. I know they had the bye week, but Kenneth, 14 carries, 26 yards. The day was salvaged with the 2 touchdowns. Shout out to Quandre Diggs because he had 2 interceptions. But outside of that, I mean, you give up 40 points. It's hard to really, give an excuse as far as losing the football game. I mean, the refs didn't help them out in any way, shape, or form. But like I said earlier, the Raiders have one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. Well, they rushed for 230 yards today. Seattle even had a possession. They went 3 and out in overtime. So there were opportunities to win this football game, but they couldn't stop the run. Derek Carr had an all right game. I know he had 3 touchdowns, but he had an all right game. Seattle's defense, they're not even top 20. They've been improving week to week. I'm still hoping and I'm still thinking they can improve week to week, but they got to put pressure on Derek Carr. They got to put pressure on opposing teams' QBs because, if you give any quarterback, especially Derek, I know he gets his flack. He's never won a playoff game technically in his long career. If he has 10 seconds to throw the football every time he drops back, well, chances are somebody's going to get open. It's a tall task for your defense of backs to hold their receivers for 10 seconds, right? Geno Smith, though, he did what he had to do. Lost a fumble and had a bad interception late in the first quarter. It's something we've been talking about week to week. You can't be turning the football over. And the positive is this. Seattle has a couple of winnable games. Like, they play Carolina. They play the Rams twice. I know the Rams defense is still pretty solid, but Stafford could even get shut down. They're going to Los Angeles next week. That's going to be a huge game. You still have a bunch of games at home remaining, so I'm not worried about Seattle getting in there. You got 6 games remaining. 4-2 gets you in the playoffs. I'm not even too worried about the NFC West right now. I personally still don't really think the 49ers are all that good of a football team. I know they have a really good defense, but it's my Packer bias come out. Just like Seattle, but even more times 2. They've dominated and controlled my football team, the Green Bay Packers, ever since I can remember. So a little bit biased, but Kenneth Walker, I do think it was not for my fantasy teams, but I do think it was a good thing that Travis Homer got some run, especially in the receiving game, because to me, he's a much better receiving back. He had a touchdown, a couple of receptions. He's a much better receiving back than Kenneth is. I think you need to have a good run game. It just opens up your playbook. It adds play action in. It makes your offense less one-dimensional, become more unpredictable. Like, I don't need to explain why the running game is important to you guys. But another week of Kenneth Walker not being able to run the football, and last week, 2 weeks ago, chalked it up to Tampa Bay has a great rush defense. They have a good defense in general, but the Vegas, they just haven't had a good defense in any way, shape, or form all season. The offensive line definitely hurt Seattle today, especially late in the game where Max Crosby was just doing Max Crosby things. Max is, to me, like Defense Player of the Year in the AFC, so you are playing a superstar, but if you want to make a deep playoff run, if you want to make a shot at the Super Bowl, these are things that are going to need to be fixed. I mean, Geno just got to limit the turnovers, got to establish that run. Defensively, somebody needs to make the play, especially on that line. Like, Quandre did a great job. He's an absolute stud. I still like the direction Seattle is trending. I still think they're going to make the playoffs this year. However, it seems like a lot of Seahawks fans would agree with this take. It's not necessarily this year, but it's next year and the years to come when Seattle is really going to do their damage. They're establishing the pieces. They're building up the culture. But still, a playoff appearance at least would be awesome and very huge for this team, just getting more playoff experience under your belt. You also have the Denver pick. Denver sucks. So at least Russ isn't your QB, I guess, is a good way to put it. I really like Geno Smith. I really like his resiliency. But at the end of the day, they just couldn't get the job done. I do have to give credit to the Vegas Raiders because they, like I said, their season's on the line, and they did what they had to do. Oh my goodness gracious, that was a cough. They did what they had to do. They did what they had to do. They put up 40 points. It was a shootout, and from an NFL fan standpoint, can't talk, it was a great game. It was a very fun, exhilarating game from start to finish. So Seattle's got some work to do. It sucks coming off of the bye, but Vegas is very desperate. So our season's on the line, man. That's it for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. Not the most fun video to make, but I do want to just continue making Seahawks videos. So a like goes a long way, a subscription goes a long way. But more importantly, guys, I want to hear your opinions down below. Like I said, not on Seahawks Twitter. Hit that follow button down below if you want to. If you're a Seahawks fan watching this video and you want to follow my Twitter. I would imagine fans are outraged, but the announcers, they're going to be very modest and very, I can't think of the word, not PC, but they're going to play it safe, right? They're not going to give their true opinions on it. So didn't get too much love from the refs tonight, but you can't chalk it up only to the refs. Keep it a buck, and that's it for today.